Jordan Peterson, who stands for strong, renewed masculinity, thinks that Olivia Wilde is being a big bully and she needs to stop being mean to him. Take a look at this.
Olivia Wilde has a new movie out, which she says is based on you, this insane man, this pseudo-intellectual hero to the incel community. Incel being these weirdo loner men who are despicable in many ways. Is that you? Are you the intellectual hero to these people?
Sure, why not? People have been after me for a long time because I've been speaking to disaffected young men. What a terrible thing to do that is. I thought the marginalized were supposed to have a voice.
It's making you emotional. Talk about that.
Well, God, it's very difficult to understand how demoralized people are. And certainly many young men are in that category.
Okay, so Jordan Peterson, I'm gonna need you to pull it together just briefly so that you'll be able to follow me as I explain a very basic idea. Nobody's mad at you for talking to these people. They're mad at you for what you've said, okay? Nobody says these people wouldn't benefit from their help. They just dispute that what you provide is help. That the grift you throw at them, the money you've made by exploiting these people, by encouraging them to, yes, clean their room, and also to continue to despise and fear and lust after women, to believe they're their property. You have not saved these people. You haven't solved their problem. You've made money and a higher profile for yourself by barking at them. That is not the solution they actually need. And so spare us the tears. We get to criticize your message. And more importantly, I honestly, at the end of the day, don't care that much about Jordan Peterson. But there are many people in this orbit who have been selling this sham idea of what I call frail, fragile masculinity to these people. These are broken men. They do need to be fixed. And to fix them, they need to be kept as far away from people like you and Ben Shapiro and Matt Walsh and Tucker Carlson and all of them as is humanly possible. So Ben, I'm gonna give him a couple of minutes to wipe his tears away. We're gonna have more from him in a sec, but what do you think about this?
I think you're absolutely right. Just in general, this absurd, I did a Rebel video on this week as well. The absurd old Neanderthal concept of what a man should be, that you should grab what you want, that you have to present this false bravado. The opposite is always true. The real truth is that a real man, a real human is one that can admit frailty, that is comfortable with it, that their ego can handle both. They can admit mistakes, they can adjust, they can evolve, they can have parts of their personality that are not just brute strength and see the other sex as the weaker sex or any of these absurd old ideas. And it's so often delivered by guys that don't even, as we see here, seem to embody even that old version of masculinity themselves, proving again it's a grift. Maybe your voice, if you're telling people to be tough, traditional dudes, shouldn't be like this. Well, why not? I've been there for them. Is he a wizard? What's with this weepy, crying voice, dude?
I wish he was. I'd follow that. Gandalf. That's a model.
I know what I'm talking about in this category because I played an incel in a movie. I was an incel in Jay and Silent Bob's reboot movie. And so I know what I'm talking about. And for research, I had to watch a lot of Jordan Peterson videos, and I'll never get that time back.
Exactly. Well, so I did not know that. I now have to go watch that movie. But anyway, look, I will also say this. And again, I have a flaw of always trying to extend an olive branch from people who do not deserve it. If what you saw in that video was actually representative of Jordan Peterson, I might not have a problem with it because he only speaks of that group seemingly from a position of empathy and compassion. He's willing to cry on air, which I might make fun of because he's reprehensible. I actually don't have any problem whatsoever. I can't go like 3 shows without mentioning that I cried throughout half of Homeward Bound every single time I watch it. But it's not representative, okay? You don't get to pretend that you're just the guy who gets them and then make all these videos where you put yourself in front of a dramatic backdrop and you say things like, we'll find out, woke moralists, who's canceling who. Don't pretend that you're the alpha guy that trains men to attack the woke, to be triggered by She-Hulk. All of this deep ingrained weakness that you are pouring into them. Okay, you don't get to do both of those things. And when you do both of those things, we are going to criticize you. I apologize, I'm sorry if that makes you cry, but you can expect more of it in the future.
And don't go and tweet when a plus-sized woman makes the cover of Sports Illustrated, have to go out there and say, not attractive. Oh, because you're a pale vampire-looking dude or winning so many handsome awards. How about expanding your vision of what attractiveness is? Because we've all left your absurd BS behind, dude.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And before we move on, yeah, like as I've said many times, these guys do need help, both for themselves and also so they will not, as they so frequently do, spawn mass murderers who go out and kill a bunch of people, particularly women, because of how broken they are. For both of those reasons, they do need to be fixed. People do need to provide positive role models. He is insane if he thinks that he's the only one doing that. There are many people doing that on a daily basis, and I hope that they're more successful than him.
And he knows that he's a pretty shady dude too, because he also went on an article I read about this to say, I believe I've been a net positive. If you think you're barely a net positive when weighing your actions, I've done a lot of bad, but also maybe some good, and that's how you're sugarcoating it publicly, you're a bad dude.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.